Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
Welcome to the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Happy Monday to you. It is the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. But it's not Ryen Russillo, who somewhere, as we speak, right now, is gallivanting around, I think it's the eastern coast of Italy, Michelle?
Southern coast.
Wow, really?
Amalfi Coast.
What does that mean, southern coast? That's like going around the boot, heel, up and down the sole of the boot. Hopefully Ryan is updating his Twitter, putting a travel log out. I am Will Kane, sitting in for Ryan all week long. Solo. Me, you, talking to each other, filling in for Ryan so that he can enjoy that Italian sun, that Italian ocean. Guests today on the Ryen Russillo Show will appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We're going to have Lewis Riddick. We might have Keyshawn Johnson. And you can get in touch with me through the entire show at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. My handle is at Will Kane, WILLCAIN. Now, you guys have seen me probably on First Take from time to time. You might have seen me sitting next to Ryan right over there from time to time. But today, with just me and you together, I want to talk to you about LaVar Ball. Now, everybody's talking about LaVar Ball. LaVar Ball, LaVar Ball, LaVar Ball. And at some point it becomes, why are you guys giving him so much oxygen? Why are you giving LaVar Ball so much attention? You're part of the problem. You keep talking about him, ESPN, sports radio, sports talk, television, First Take. You keep talking about LaVar Ball, and you are becoming the LaVar Ball problem. But I disagree. I think at this point, we have to talk about LaVar Ball. I think we have to talk about him because I don't see any reason. I don't see any evidence why LaVar Ball is not becoming the most powerful man in basketball. I want to make this Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. LaVar Ball, very likely, within a matter of years, is going to be the most powerful man in basketball. Here's why I say that. As the LeBron James era of most important man in basketball comes to a close, there'll be a vacuum left behind. That vacuum will be filled by someone. Who is the guy that dictates where our attention goes? Who is the guy that dictates where free agents go? Who is the guy that pulls all the strings behind the scenes in basketball? And right now, I don't see any reason why that's not LaVar Ball. Now, I'm not celebrating that fact. I'm not telling you that's a great thing. I'm not telling you that that the NBA and basketball in general is headed down an amazing path because of that. I'm telling you that I can read the tea leaves. I mean, this is what. How is it not shaping up this way? He is the man for our time. LaVar Ball is the man for our time. He embodies everything we're asking from someone. This is what we want. We want somebody to act like LaVar Ball. As you know, last Friday he had just a run of greatest hits when it comes to LaMelo's AAU basketball tournament. In a matter of days, let's see, LaVar pulled his team off the court. Said, no, we're done here. Let's go, boys. Walk out. We're done. Took them outside, by the way. Gathered them outside the glass doors of the auditorium. All the 15-year-olds, 14, 15, 6-year-olds sat down in front of LaVar. He stands up, towering over them with his white slides on, white shirt, white shorts. And now he's ready to tell them, boys, this is why. This is why we pulled off the court. This is why we can no longer play. Listen to this.
Y'all playing your hearts out here and be calling on that bull about him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all need to play hard as hell. And all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't gonna have this.
All they do is cheating out there. Could you tell that through the language? It was really the last 5 seconds is what mattered. All they're doing is cheating out there. I'm pulling you off the court because the grown-ups out there hired to be the arbiters of the game, the referees, the ones in black and white stripes, because they're cheating. You're doing everything you can, but no, it's stacked against you.
Y'all playing your hearts out there and they calling on that bullshit that needs to stop him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all be playing hard as hell. And all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't gonna have this.
Life lessons. All they're doing is cheating out there. Now, let me tell you something. That worked so well. That later in the week, on Friday, he threatened to pull his team again. You can see the video. He's stomping around on the court, waves his arm to his players. Come on, follow me. We're walking off again. Because he didn't like the calls from a female referee. At that point, everybody goes, whoa. Okay, LaVar. Okay. Please don't go. Please don't take your team off the court. So, the AAU officials, with the influence of Adidas, by the way, Adidas shoes, looking pretty good these days, right? Am I wrong on that, Rudy? Adidas is on the up. I mean, they're going up on their shoes, right?
I'm not a huge fan, not going to lie.
Really?
Yeah.
They've got to be taking some market share from Nike because I look around, I see a lot of people in those Ultra Boost Adidas. And I think they look pretty good. I don't know if this is going to help. Adidas intervening in an AAU tournament to say, no, please, LaVar, don't go. We'll get rid of her. We'll get rid of the ref that you don't like. It worked for a little while, by the way, because she was pulled from the game. He did get a second technical in the second half. He was ejected. And at that point, by the way, he wouldn't leave. Right? You know what happened? At that point, he wouldn't leave the court. This is the behavior, by the way, of I have a 6-year-old. This is the behavior of a 6-year-old. I'm going to quit, take my ball, and go home. Or I will not leave, even when you kick me out. This is the man leading the 14 and 15-year-old youth of basketball.
Y'all playing your hearts out there and they calling on that bullshit that needs to stop him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all be playing hard as hell. And all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't gonna have this.
Now, listen, but I started out telling you, despite all this, I do think he's the future of the NBA. I do think he's the future most powerful man in basketball. And I don't see any reason, I don't see any evidence to believe otherwise. I would love you to call in and tell me why I'm wrong on this. Why? Give me something, please. Give me a reason. Give me evidence. Give me some reason to believe that LaVar Ball is not going to be running the entire basketball world in a matter of years. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. But hear me out. This is what we ask of people. I said LaVar Ball is the man of our time. He embodies what we ask of somebody. First of all, he's full of braggadocio. He's full of arrogance. He's full of what appears to be confidence. He's full of what he would have you believe to be competence, in that he's raised these amazing superstar basketball players. But the truth of the matter is, underneath it all, it's all fake. Every bit of it is fake. Every bit of the cartoon caricature of a man that LaVar Ball projects to you is fake. But we've lost our way, I think, of figuring out between what's fake and what's real. I remember when I was in 8th grade. Is this every 8th grader, by the way, or is this only 8th graders in like the 1980s? It's like everything you analyzed in life was filtered through the prism of fake or real. She's fake. He's fake. Oh, I like him. He's real. He's real. Everybody still does that, right? Like fake and real. That's like the top line filter through which you pour somebody. Am I right on that? Still, Rudy?
I would say so. It's
like he's fake. He's real. But we've lost that, man. We have no idea. We have no ability to tell what's fake and real. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because we watch 15-second clips on Instagram. Maybe because our attention span is terribly ruined. But as I look around, if you fake it, you make it. Just like the saying goes. I mean, so why would LaVar fail? He's freaking succeeding every step of the way. He steps in a pothole and criticizes a woman for being out of shape, a woman referee for being incompetent, out of shape, and not in her lane, and refereeing a high school AAU basketball game. And what does it do? It actually springboards him forward.
Look, if you look at Colin's numbers,
it's not no second thoughts. You guys are trying to make it like a gender thing. It's not that. All I'm saying was, what's her name? Okay, exactly. The only reason you know her is she gave me and my son a check. That's the only way you know her. And that's what it is when you ref somebody who's got a high celebrity. Ain't nobody else doing that. Everybody acting. The guy who ref today, videotape him, then you're going to see he act exactly like me. You see what I'm saying? But every coach acts like that because the intensity of the game is so high. And I'm just saying, don't have no vendettas in here. You can say what you want, but it's hearsay. What I say, what she say, it's no big deal. It's over with, and you guys will keep bringing it back to try to find out to say, you know what, girls should be refing as. I don't care if all girls ref. If they good refs, let's go ahead and do it. But it's not about ticking up and making a scene. They could have got a lot of ticks, but these guys right here were a little more involved. They went both ways with it.
I'm telling you, LaVar Ball is fake. He's not tough. He's not a straight shooter. He's not a man. He's a cartoon caricature of all the things he thinks you want to see in a strong man. But underneath it all, he's a victim. He tells kids that they've been cheated. He threatens to quit when things don't go his way. He stomps around on a court and won't leave when they don't go his way. He gets people fired, and he's enabled by adults like Adidas all the way through. There are those who say we should stop talking about it, but we can't because you have to call fake out when it's fake or it will continue to win. Look across. Just take a quick glimpse across, okay? Tell me you can't find other examples of this. Fake caricatures of toughness and what it means to be a man succeeding all the way to the top. I'd love for you to tell me I'm wrong. I would love it. 888-729-3776. I'd love for you to give me evidence of why he's a flash in the pan, of why his 15 seconds are almost up. I just don't see it. I see the future most powerful man in basketball. That's Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Again, give me a call, 888-729-3776. It's Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo on the ESPN Radio. I want to be clear. I don't want to be right on this. This isn't what I'm rooting for, that LaVar Ball becomes the most powerful man in basketball. I just think it's what's going to happen. It's like placing bets. You don't bet on the team you want to win. You bet on the team you think is going to win. It's Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo this week. The Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you so you get the best deal, even if it's not with us. Save you time and money. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today. Look, 888-729-3776. Tell me why I'm wrong. Don't tell me why you want me to be wrong. Don't tell me why I should be wrong. Tell me why I am wrong. I am not so much disappointed. Yeah. I'm disappointed in LaVar Ball and the way he acts. I'm disappointed that here's this complete farce of a tough guy, a complete cartoon image of what he thinks you want to be a man. Yeah, I'm not happy with this guy's behavior, the way he acts towards a female referee, the way he acts towards anything, to be honest. But I'm really actually more upset with us, that this is what we seem to be rewarding over and over. That's why I think that he's going to be the most powerful man in basketball, because history suggests we're suckers for this stuff. David in Brooklyn, tell me why I'm wrong.
Hey, Will. I think LaVar Ball is absolutely the worst thing for basketball right now. I think that what we have right now is a reality TV kind of generation, and everyone loves watching a train wreck. So, I don't dispute that he's probably a really good dad. I bet behind closed doors with no video cameras around, he's a good dad. But I think that he sets a horrible example for, any other parent coming up with kids that are younger than his, that are like, oh, you know what? This is the model that my kid's going to need to look up to and to be the driving force for him to be a professional basketball in 2035.
I totally agree, David. This is the lesson we're teaching kids right here. Listen.
It's wow, nobody ever does it. Oh, just sit there and take the punishment. No, I ain't sitting there and taking nothing because I don't have to. And that's what I'm telling my kids. You don't have to do nothing you don't want to do. I don't care what they say.
There you go. Right there. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. These are life lessons by LaVar Ball. God, I'm becoming like a pessimist with life, or a cynic. I don't even know. I don't like it. I want to believe that we won't reward this. I want to believe that parents out there don't agree with it. I want to believe that sports teams and companies and executives go, nah. We don't want to be associated with that. We can't be associated with that. But look at Adidas. You don't even have to relegate it to sports. Go to a playground. I'm serious. Go to a playground. You'll see this exact thing play out. Go to Washington, D.C. Tell me where this isn't working. Tell me we're faking it until you make it. Faking bravado, faking competency, faking confidence isn't working. Matt, New York, tell me why I'm wrong.
All right, so I'm calling in. I highly disagree with the fact that you say that this guy's going to take over sports or take over basketball for that matter. I mean, look, we have all-time great coaches. We've seen the Pat Rileys, the Krzyzewskis, the Popovich, coaches at all levels who don't pull these stunts, who get calls against their team and don't say, oh, you know what, I want this ref taken out. We're not talking about all-time great. We're talking a guy who's not even a has-been. We're talking about a nobody who's riding on the coattails of his son, of which we know only one of them is good. And mind you, good, not great. All it takes is for one of these coaches to step up and say, you know what, we don't pull these stunts, so this guy should
Adidas, Matt?
be able to pull these stunts.
Like Adidas did, Matt?
Listen, Adidas, Nike, anyone. We need a big time. We need a coach who's a somebody who says this.
Yeah,
is
but Matt, you're talking to me about need. This is my point. Stay on the line, Matt. You're talking about need. You're talking to me about these guys that we have in basketball, be it Greg Popovich or whoever, Rick Carlisle. Strong figures that lead teams to success, that guide men through careers, that create professional basketball players out of guys. Yeah, we have them. And you're talking about what they need to do. What I'm telling you is what is happening, man. I'm telling you what's being rewarded. I'm telling you that players decide where they want to go, who they want to play with, what deals they make, what teams they sign with, what shoe deals they decide to go with. And LaVar Ball is positioning himself because we reward this nonsense. He's positioning himself to be the most powerful man in basketball. You can tell me about need and should, but I'm telling you about am.
Right, but what I'm saying is he's only getting this because we're feeding into it. The listeners, the media, ESPN, the big name companies. If somebody who's a somebody steps in and says this is unacceptable, we cannot reward this type of behavior. If a Michael Jordan steps in, or a Popovich or a Krzyzewski says we cannot reward this behavior, it's done. But the fact that no one steps up, no one stands up for it, it's not going to happen.
You know what, Matt? I appreciate the call. You know what you are? You're an optimist, man. You're an idealist. And I have been at that at various times in my life and my career. I hope you're right. But right now, victimhood is seen as strength. Faking it until you make it is the creed. Confidence and arrogance are indistinguishable. And if all that's true, LaVar Ball will succeed one failure after another. Every misstep, every failure, every embarrassment will push him to higher success. Really quickly, this is LaVar Ball on Mornings with Keyshawn, George, and LZ on ESPN 710 LA. This is the victimhood that will eventually propel him to the top.
Of course I'm being unfairly targeted, but it's okay. Why wouldn't I be? They say I got a big mouth anyway. They say we bad as heck. Of course you want to try to quiet me up. That's the way I've been coaching
that kind
all
of thought
the time.
Process?
It's just entertainment. Instead of going to the movies, people are coming to the AAU game to watch the game.
That kind of thought process. I wish it didn't work. All right, the phone lines are lit up. You guys want to talk about this? We got a lot of things to get to today. We got Kaepernick. We got how do you know when a quarterback's done? How do you know? Blake Bortles, Jared Goff. When do you know the experiment is a failure? We got a lot of things to get to today. Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo, who's off in Italy. We need to get to that as well. Where is Ryan? Get to all that today. Will Kane in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
It's the Ryen Russillo Show, brought to you by Upside. Now save big on travel and get big gift cards every trip you buy. You'll love Upside.com, Upside.com. It's Will Kane, in for Ryen Russillo. You can hit me up on Twitter, at Will Kane, WILLCAIN. You can also give us a call, 888-729-3776. Phone lines are lit up. Everyone wants to convince me. I want to be convinced. Why LaVar Ball is not going to be the most powerful man in basketball. It's really more of an indictment of us than it is LaVar Ball. It's really more of an indictment of where we train our eyeballs. You know, we heard it in the last segment of Caller. So what, you know, you're feeding it by continuing to talk about it. At this point, I disagree. There's a really good column up by Jay Billis right now on ESPN.com talking about how he's not going to talk about LaVar Ball anymore. He used to think he thought it was funny, and now it's not funny. But I see. Here's the thing: I'm with all of you. I'm with Jay. I'm with you. It's not good. It's not healthy. But I think you have to talk about it. Like that's how it was in my family. If you had something bad going on, well, we got to talk. Let's talk. Start talking. Talk it till it doesn't. I don't know. We didn't take our problems back to the bedroom and dwell on them, stew on them. One more thing on this LaVar Ball. So sometimes there's this YouTube channel that I really, really like. It's called Charisma on Command. This guy, I don't even know his real name, but he breaks down people and speakers and why it is they resonate, what it is about Conor McGregor and his confidence that's infectious, that makes you have to watch. Why Brad Pitt has, magnetism. Everyone from Donald Trump to famous actors, what the qualities they bring to their public presentation that makes it so they're so magnetic. But talks about Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali seemed to know the difference between confidence and arrogance, where Muhammad Ali's confidence in his abilities and who he was inside the ring was real. But the arrogance was a put on. All of the braggadocio, all the I make medicine sick, all that stuff that Ali did. It was like he was in on the joke. Jay Billis writes that in his column, by the way. He used to think LaVar Ball was in on the joke. Ali was in on the joke, on the arrogance. I don't think LaVar Ball is in on the joke. I think LaVar Ball takes himself very, very seriously. All right. You can give us a call, 888-729-3776. But I want to move to Colin Kaepernick for a little bit because that's been the other big story of the day. Will the Baltimore Ravens sign Colin Kaepernick? I mean, right now, I believe somewhere Steve Bisciotti is probably knelt in prayer, thinking about this, ruminating, contemplation, solemn reverence. We know that Bisciotti asked for your prayers on their decision on whether or not to sign Colin Kaepernick. That's up to you if you want to do that. You can help them out. But in the meantime, outside of prayers, at least there was some honesty on the risk-reward analysis on whether or not a team should sign Colin Kaepernick. It's not difficult. This is not a hard math calculation. This is simple risk-reward. Does Colin Kaepernick's talent on the football field outweigh the potential business downsides of any football team that might want to sign him? Easy, simple. Hold your hands up, side by side, right? Scales, how they used to weigh things, right? Football talent on one side, cost to the bottom line for a football business on the other. Which one goes down heavier? On the football side, Colin Kaepernick is a divisive quarterback. There are good things about him. He has a high passer rating. His touchdown to interception ratio, I believe, is like one of the highest, best touchdown to interception ratios over the past, 4 years. With any quarterback with over 1,500 passes, Colin Kaepernick ranks something, I don't know, I think he's top 5. I have it right here. I believe Colin Kaepernick on touchdown to interception ratio is mentioned with names like Rodgers, Brady, Wilson, Derek Carr, and then Colin Kaepernick. That's quarterbacks with at least 1,500 attempts throughout their careers. It's 5th best touchdown to interception ratio. On the other hand, on the football field, Colin Kaepernick is like, this is from Pro Football Focus, by the way, really good. Scott Barrett is a guy that breaks things down really well. The title of the article is Just How Good or Not is Colin Kaepernick. On the other side of the equation, only David Carr, Derek's brother, David, who, by the way, I thought had a lot more in his bag and was put into very, very bad circumstances. Only David Carr has a worse sack percentage. So Colin Kaepernick drops back to pass. He's second on the list of guys who've had 1,500 pass attempts on getting sacked. And a sack, at least according to Scott Barrett here, is just so detrimental to a team. Sets you back. Statistically, it hurts your yards per attempt. Really, really puts a team behind the 8 ball when you get sacked. So there are those that think Colin Kaepernick is a very talented, good quarterback that could help a team out, and others like, not that good. So the point is he's divisive on the football field. Not to mention how divisive he is off the football field. We don't have to pass judgment on Colin Kaepernick's cause or protest or method of protest to simply know this little fact. He's divisive. And if you sign him, you are going to hurt to some extent with your bottom line. This was this morning on Mike and Mike. Louis Riddick had this to say, which I found very, very interesting about the pushback about Colin Kaepernick joining any team.
For them to not want to talk about it, considering the fact that the types of players that have been allowed to play in the National Football League that have some of the track records that they do, they must. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say there must be some serious, serious pushback that they're receiving. From this. It must be serious for them to not really, to almost like say, hey, look, you know what? Yeah, we've gotten some letters, or man, you know what? Yeah, he's a guy who's under consideration. Yeah, and want to just change the subject quick.
Yeah, right.
There must be some serious pushback from some serious people that are making them go, whoa, this is different. Otherwise, we all know the NFL is about winning, and we know that Colin's better than other players out there. So why isn't he getting looks?
Yeah. That was Louis Riddick on Mike and Mike. He's going to be on the Russillo Show with me a little later today. Serious pushback. Serious. So you got to weigh that. I appreciate, by the way, the honesty from Steve Bisciotti. I appreciate the honesty from John Mara, who says he's never had this kind of fan pushback on anything. The letters he's getting, the notes he's getting about people not wanting Colin Kaepernick on their team. That by the way, I'm not passing value judgment on that. I'm not passing judgment on the fan, nor the team, nor Colin on any of this equation. It just is. At some point, it just is. And I don't know if that means they're going to buy fewer caps, fewer tickets, watch fewer games, or simply it's going to be some kind of effect on your brand. I don't know how that manifests. And by the way, I'm going to ask Riddick, I would like to know where that pressure would come from. Is it just fans? Is it local institutions like the police departments? Where would that pressure be coming from? But that's it. Risk-reward with Colin Kaepernick. That weighed against the talent you get on the field. 888-729-3776. I'm Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo. We're going to get to your calls. More on LaVar Ball, more on Colin Kaepernick. It's Will Kane on the Ryen Russillo Show. It's the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo, who is in Italy on a completely, apparently, can I tell this, Michelle? I think, yeah. Unplanned trip, meaning the only thing Ryan purchased and planned was what? A plane ticket?
Plane ticket there and back. That's it.
That's awesome. I need to be careful on my effusive praise of how he does a trip, because then it's going to be like, oh, you have the man crush on Ryan. Oh, you're gunning for the job. Oh, you're sucking up to Ryan, yada, yada, yada. No, I really like that, though. Like, I would love a just let me see where the winds take me vacation like that.
Oh, so you're both crazy.
Explore. Like, it's like you're an explorer, Michelle. Like, you're going forward into the unknown. Hey, let's see what could happen. I love it. Louis Riddick this morning on Mike and Mike said that he's got to guess, serious pushback on signing Colin Kaepernick. I mean, look at who the NFL has signed. Look at the guys they've given second chances to. Look at Greg Hardy. Look at, I don't know, you name it, Adrian Peterson, whoever it may be. We are willing to overlook things, but there must be serious pushback from Colin Kaepernick because he's good enough to be playing.
Look, if you look at Colin's numbers, yards per attempt, career passer rating, are better than Joe Flacco's. They're better. Now, people can say, well, those are just very generic stats. But look, passer rating's a pretty good stat if you want to compare people over their careers. And Colin is a better football player right now than someone else who they're talking about bringing in to take a look at being RG3.
Yeah.
Okay, RG3 last year was awful. He didn't really deserve a workout. Colin deserves a look. When we get to this point, though, why is Steve Bisciotti doing the things he's doing as far as polling all these different people and getting all these? Because this is a very, 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 very sensitive issue. And Booger, I heard you say it early this morning. People are scared about this. Mm-hmm. They don't really know what to do about it.
Colin Kaepernick's passer rating in 2012 was 98. In 2013, 91. In 2014, 86. 2015, big down year for him, 78. last year, actually, back up to 90. Passer rating doesn't tell you everything. For example, it doesn't tell you what I talked about earlier, how often he takes a sack. Doesn't tell you how he commands a huddle. Doesn't tell you how he commands a team, these things. But it is a good stat. I agree with Riddick. It is a good stat. Just doesn't tell you everything. Certainly isn't telling us why Colin Kaepernick isn't on a team today. And that we can totally agree. By the numbers, he belongs on a roster, if not as a starter, as a backup. But owners are, as I would suggest, rightfully scared of what that would do to their bottom line. Malachi, Missouri. Why is it you think Colin Kaepernick isn't on a roster right now?
I guess my thing that I just wonder about the bottom line is that whenever he first started all of this, I don't remember how long it was, but he was the number one leading jersey salesman for a long time. And I almost wonder, yes, there's pushback, but how much of that pushback, I don't know. I get there would be pushback, but I don't know how much it would really affect a full bottom line of it.
And I'll be honest, I'm not even sure, Malachi, like how that manifests. Okay, jersey sales, cap sales, ticket prices, ticket sales, television ratings. I mean, do I think a Ravens fan is really going to tune out because Colin Kaepernick is on the field? I don't. I really don't. I mean, I think I've made it very, very clear. I'm a pretty big Dallas Cowboys homer. I wouldn't turn it off. I wouldn't look away. I didn't like Colin Kaepernick's protest. I'm perfectly happy and willing to engage on the merits of the substance that he wants to talk about. But as for the actual protest itself and the things that accompanied it, from the socks to the T-shirts to the tweets, I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. But I'm not looking away from the Dallas Cowboys if they sign him. I'm not going to do that. So I don't know. I think it's a good question, Malachi. I don't know how it affects the bottom line. I really don't. I mean, you could ask yourself, does it tarnish a team's brand with a large segment of the fans? But then I would say, okay, and I asked you guys this, Rudy, Michelle, can we come up with an example? Is there an example of a team that signed a player that was either unliked or had a bad reputation that somehow, forget permanent, forget long-term, even short-term, tarnished that team's brand? Can you think of one? I mean, the ones that popped in my head, and I'm not even sure they did anything, are actually like Ray Rice, maybe Ray Lewis. They happen to be other Baltimore Ravens, which could give us some indication of how hesitant that particular organization might be, or why they would go through so many steps and hurdles and analysis and asking sponsors and asking fans. How do you do that, by the way? Are they putting out tweets? How are the Ravens asking fans for feedback? I'm serious, like mechanically, how do you do that? Wait for the phone to ring? I don't know. But I could see why they'd want to go through all that analysis, because if you're coming up with an examples, they've got to be at the top of the list of teams that have flirted with that, hey, have we done something here that might actually impact our brand or our bottom line? Right? It's got to be the Ravens. Can you come up with another one, Rudy?
I mean, Vic came out of jail with the Eagles, and I don't remember them ever taking really a hit. I think people protested Vic being there, but I don't ever remember the Eagles being even really a part of that. And then he kind of came full circle and became awesome again.
Did Vic hurt the Falcons brand?
I mean, they were down for a couple years when he left, but I don't think he hurt their brand.
I mean, let's not forget how controversial what Michael Vick did. I mean, the dogfighting thing put him. Do they do Q ratings? I wonder Q ratings. That's what we have in this business, right? It measures your likability combined with your name recognition. Mine's through the roof, by the way. Extremely likable, all the way.
Regular,
almost 100% likability. That's the Muhammad Ali thing, by the way.
You're in on the joke. I'm
in on that joke. Do they do that? Do they do Q ratings on football players? I don't know. Does it even matter? I mean, Michael Vick's Q rating was as low as it possibly can get. So if Michael Vick didn't tarnish the Falcons brand, I don't know how anyone's can tarnish the Ravens. The point is, football's bigger. The team brands are bigger than the one guy. And so I would need to be convinced on how this is going to hurt your bottom line. I get why people don't like Colin Kaepernick. I really, really, really do. I'm not sure I can see the risk-reward. Okay, explain to me how this is going to come back to bite a team. All right, so Major League Baseball trade deadline is about 2 hours away. Let's get Richard Justice in here to tell us what happens to you, Darvish. What happens to Sonny Gray? Maybe which one would you rather have? It's Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo.
Welcome aboard Delta Airlines. Please enjoy your flight and thanks for choosing Delta.
Jody Avirgan here. Thanks for listening to ESPN Film's 30 for 30 podcasts from the producers of the award-winning 30 for 30 series. These new audio documentaries are an incredible collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. It's really a win-win. Delta Airlines makes your travel experience easy and enjoyable with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And ESPN's 30 for 30 podcasts make your in-flight time rich with stories that will keep you coming back for more. So sit back, relax, and keep listening to some of the most compelling sports stories ever told.
Welcome to the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
It's the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. Will Kane in for Ryen Russillo as he ventures out into the unknown on his unplanned Italian getaway. I tried to go along, like I do, tag along with Ryan. Was that little dog that bounced around the bulldog cartoon? That little one, little yappy chihuahua that bounced around the bulldog. What are you doing, Spike? What are you doing, Spike? What are you doing? Can I come with you, Spike? But he just said no. So, no Will and Ryan trip. No bro trip through Italy. So you got me all week filling in for Ryen Russillo. This was just sent to me, by the way. We talked about LaVar Ball at the top of the show and how he's become the man of our time. LaVar Ball. What was that line from The Big Lebowski? Sometimes there's a man. Sometimes. A man who defines the time. LaVar Ball, the man who defines our time. The NBA referees have tweeted this out, and this is from Adidas. Adidas has apologized for influencing the referee being yanked off the court of LaVar Ball's AAU game. Here's the quote from Adidas. The referee substitutions made during our tournament last week are not in line with our company values. It was the wrong decision. We regret the situation and are looking into the matter to make sure our standards for sportsmanship, equality, and fair play are met in the future. Supporting all athletes is critical to who we are. We believe in the power of sports to create positive and bring people together. Importantly, any representation that we would compromise our values and an inclusive approach for the benefit of any individual is inaccurate, except for this one time, right? Except for that last time. That was the last time. What we're saying is we're not going to do it again. Just last time, like this weekend, that was the last time. Got it. Okay, so we got 2 hours until the Major League Baseball trade deadline, so that means we get MLB.com correspondent Richard Justice to join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Richard, thanks for jumping on with me. Do we have Richard? Doesn't look like we have Richard right now. But here's what we got to figure out. And this is what I'm going to talk to Richard about if and when we get him. Sonny Gray versus Yu Darvish. Okay, set aside the fact that Yu Darvish is a short-term rental. I believe Sonny Gray has another year on his contract over Yu Darvish. Who would you rather have in your run through the Major League Baseball playoffs? Who would you rather have for the World Series run? Sonny Gray or Yu Darvish? Do we get Richard Justice? I grew up outside of Dallas. I'm a Texas Rangers fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, a Dallas Mavericks fan. So I've been watching Yu Darvish throughout his career. Yu Darvish has been absolutely dominant at times. There are GIFs made of his pitching release and how he can throw something like 5 to 7 different pitches from the same release point. So the batter never knows until deep in the release which pitch is coming out. Yu Darvish seemed to have it all, like not just a thrower, a pitcher, Yeah, who threw with heat, but in the Greg Maddux mold of pitchers, could put it anywhere on the plate that he wanted at any time, from any angle, any kind of pitch. Yu Darvish was that guy. He hasn't been that guy lately. He got lit up last week. I wonder what that did to his trade value. Would you rather have that guy, the guy you've seen do it? By the way, Yu Darvish's playoff record, he has 2 starts, and he is wasn't great in 2016. The playoff appearance was kind of okay. I believe he gave up what was it? A couple runs in like 7 innings, 2 runs maybe in 7 innings. In 2012, that was in 2012. In 16, I know what it was. He gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, had an ERA of 9 in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Sonny Gray also with playoff experience, 2 games, 2 ERA, 2.08 ERA. So who would you rather have? Sonny Gray or Yu Darvish going into this deadline? That's a question for the New York Yankees. That's a question for the LA Dodgers. What would you be willing to give up, and which one would you rather have for this playoff run right here? When we get Richard Justice, we'll revisit that. We'll revisit those questions. In the meantime, where will Colin Kaepernick land? Should he be on a team? Does he hurt a team's bottom line? Honestly, like, you sit here at times when you do radio or you do television first take, you're like, I've got this figured out. This is what I'm driving home to you. This is what I know. And I'm working this one out with you. Like, I think I have a year's worth of record at this point of going, yeah, I didn't like Colin Kaepernick's protest, the form of the protest. I didn't like, by the way, his characterization of some of the statistics as to why he protested. I think he has some merit. He has some things to talk about, but he continuously cages it in unfair terms. He continuously cages it in ways that it seems like it's impossible to have a fair conversation. And then he turns around and wears socks with cops as pigs on them, or he tweets out a badge of a slave catcher's badge and a cop's badge next to each other, or he talks about the 4th of July in unflattering ways, or whatever he does. He has done so much over the past year to make me personally angry. However, as I go through this analysis, this risk-reward, what do you get on the field with Colin Kaepernick versus what does he cost you off the field? I'm working that out in real time with you, and I'm just not seeing that Colin Kaepernick fails the risk-reward. This is what the Baltimore Ravens are going through as we speak. This is the analysis they're asking of sponsors, of fans, of God. Steve Bisciotti asking for your prayers as they make this decision. Like, Colin Kaepernick is probably somewhere around the 28th to 35th ranked quarterback in the NFL. He is a bottom-tier starter, top-tier backup. A guy like that belongs in the NFL. Louis Riddick, who works here at ESPN, he's an NFL insider and former player personnel director, front office insider here at ESPN. He said he'd sign him.
Would I give Colin Kaepernick a chance? Yes, I would. I would have been brought him in at this point. I would really want, and for me, I think at this point it'd be about, look, Colin, we respect what you've done and how much you're still trying to do. Obviously, do you really? How important is football to you? How committed are you to helping us in a role that's much different than what you're used to? Mm-hmm. And are you willing to be in it for the long haul and really do what's best for this football team? And if I feel as though our organization is strong enough and I'm comfortable enough with his answers, then I'm moving forward with it.
So, if you're Louis Riddick, does Colin Kaepernick fail the risk-reward test? On the reward side, you get that 28th to 35th ranked quarterback. You get that guy who could start for you. You get a top-end backup. Some suggest you get more than that. There are some suggest he's statistically actually better than Joe Flacco. Whatever it may be, the risk-reward, the reward is somewhere in that bottom-range starter, top-end backup range. Now for the risk. What is the risk? The risk is, on the business side, the bottom line. How much of your fandom revolts? And how do they revolt? Because that's where it fails for me. How do they revolt? They can say they don't like it. But what does a fan base really actually do? Do they stop buying hats? They stop buying jerseys? They stop buying tickets? Do they not turn on their favorite team? 'Cause I gotta be honest, I don't think I'd do that. As much as I told you at the beginning how I didn't like so much of Colin Kaepernick and what he has said or what he's done, if he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, my team, I'm in. I may not buy the Kaepernick jersey, but my kid's still going to wear a Dallas Cowboys jersey. I'm still going to be watching it on TV. So when I come back to this risk-reward, I don't know. I don't think he's failing it. So then it takes me to this. What is the serious pushback? What kind of serious pushback are teams getting? Because, listen, Riddick said there's serious pushback.
For them to not want to talk about it, considering the fact that the types of players that have been allowed to play in the National Football League that have some of the track records that they do, they must. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say there must be some serious pushback that they're receiving. From this. It must be serious for them to not really, to almost like say, hey, look, you know what? Yeah, we've gotten some letters, or, man, you know what? Yeah, he's a guy who's under consideration. Yeah, and want to just change the subject quick. Yeah.
Right.
There must be some serious pushback from some serious people that are making them go, whoa, this is different. Otherwise, we all know the NFL is about winning, and we know that Colin's better than other players out there, so why isn't he getting looks?
Yeah. I wonder what that pushback would be. Like he said, you could hear Riddick, there's from serious people. Is it from fans? I mean, is it from the law enforcement community? Is it from politicians? Like, where is that pushback coming from? Because from the fan side, I just don't know. Everybody will. There are many, myself included, will not like it, but it's not going to impact my commitment to my team. All right, you're free to give us a call, 888-729-3776. Tell me, by the way, would it make you stop watching your favorite team if they signed Colin Kaepernick? Be honest, would it really make you stop watching your favorite team? Now we are 1 hour and 45 minutes from the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and now we have Richard Justice. Sonny Gray or Yu Darvish? Are they moving? Which would you rather have? Straight ahead, Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio. T-minus hour and 45 minutes until the Major League Baseball trade deadline. It's the Ryen Russillo Show. Will Kane sitting in for Ryan this week. This thing's got to happen here in the next hour and 45 minutes if it's going to happen, right? Like if these guys are on the move, Yu Darvish, Sonny Gray, bolstering, I don't know, Dodgers, Yankees, World Series run. This has got to happen. Now we have MajorLeagueBaseball.com correspondent Richard Justice joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Richard, do we have you?
Yeah, we got me.
Good. Glad to have you on the show, man. So here we are, hour and, I don't know, what are we looking at, hour and 40 minutes. Are Yu Darvish and or Sonny Gray going to move?
Sonny Gray is going to be traded. Billy Beane is a pretty experienced trader. He's made it clear this is going to be the last rebuild. And Sonny Gray is the center point of that. I think what we have right now is kind of a dance going on. The Astros, the Indians, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and to see what's going to happen. I have a gut feeling that Darvish is not going to be traded. The Dodgers have the deepest farm system that they've had in recent memory. They could get anybody they want, but Andrew Friedman has always taken a long view. And I think while everybody says you've got to go get a pitcher, they're comfortable, that they're going to go into the playoffs with Kershaw, Wood, Hill. There's nobody they can get better that would upgrade that group. And also, that Kershaw's going to be healthy for that. Is there somewhat of a calculated gamble? Yes. If they feel, they got the best rotation in baseball all year, and that nobody that's going to be traded today would upgrade that. I would think the one exception might be Justin Verlander, who brings such an October present and throws a big.
All right, Richard. Let me tell you what. We're having a little trouble hearing you. I'm going to have to try to call you back. I don't know. It sounds a little bit like the phone's in an aquarium, maybe, or something like that. I know what I heard was that Sonny Gray was going to move. Sonny Gray's going to be moved. The A's are in on a rebuild. Whether or not that's to the Yankees or the Dodgers, we'll wait to be seen on that. I couldn't hear on Yu Darvish, to be quite honest. Any of you guys hear? Cat? Still got Richard? All right, Richard, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, man, you climbed out of that aquarium you were sitting in.
I'll say this. The road from Cooperstown to Albany has a couple of cell holes.
That's not just metaphorical, right? That's literal, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow, much better connection. Okay, so I think I heard you say Sonny Gray is going to move. Where do you expect Sonny Gray to move?
I think there's going to be a nice little bidding war between the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Indians, and the Astros at this point. The Dodgers have the prospects to make this deal happen. Andrew Friedman's always taken a long view of this sort of stuff. And I don't know that he feels like he would upgrade the 3 or the 4-man rotation that they would take into October right now. A lot of these GMs just can't bring themselves to overpay for pitching. And if you're going to overpay, you better overpay for somebody like a Justin Verlander, who's a big, strong right-hander who just looks like an October pitcher. And in the middle of all those left-handers, is a perfect fit.
So wait, we're literally down to about an hour and a half to the trade deadline, and you just named about a 3 or 4 team auction or bidding war for Sonny Gray. Mechanically, Richard, how does that play out? Just phone calls flying left and right over the next hour?
Yeah, in 98, when Randy Johnson was traded about 1 minute before midnight, I mean, there was a race to call the league office literally at the last minute to say, we made this deal, can you register this on the books? And what's happening is an auction. Brad Hand with the Padres is their most marketable player. A.J. Preller is going to get everything he can. And we're in the points now where Billy Beane is telling people, I probably won't even trade Sonny Gray. I can't get what I'm comfortable with, which means that in the next hour he will trade him. I think Texas, though, it's a real wrestling match. Texas looks at his team and says, we're good enough to go to get one of the wild card berths. Then we're going to go to the postseason. We're going to have Hamels, and we're going to have Darvish, and we're going to have Andrew Cashner. And this kid, Martin Perez, has done very well. So who knows? Who's to say we can't do it?
So you think Texas is not – so the Yu Darvish trade talks, in your estimation, are off right now?
I would say they're going to have to – the Dodgers can do this deal. The Astros can do this deal. But it's going to be an overpay. And so do you slide all your cards on the table and maybe pay a price down the road? Look, if you know you can win the World Series, even go to the World Series, you overpay. You don't even sweat it. But GMs are much more analytical, much more cautious, and much less emotional than previous years.
Okay, so really quick, I'm just trying to add this all up together. So if in the next hour and a half there's phone calls flying all over the place from 3 or 4 different clubs, including the Dodgers and Yankees, on getting Sonny Gray, that doesn't leave a lot of room for also optioning off your B scenario to Yu Darvish, right? So take the Dodgers, for example. Dodgers going all in on Sonny Gray on this bidding process right now, almost by that very nature boxes them out of keeping the Yu Darvish ball juggled up in the air, right?
Well, trades are done now by text messaging. A couple of years ago, I ran into John Schuerholz of the Braves on the balcony of the Otesaga Hotel in Cooperstown, and he was texting, and he was literally finishing a deal. So you can text, and you can keep the balls in the air with Zach Britton of the Orioles, with Brad Hand of the Padres, with Darvish, and there's going to be conversations about Verlander. But the $56 million over the next 2 years. That is more money than his pitching says he's worth right now. But I mean, it's a flyer, but he's the most intriguing guy that could change things. I would guess Sonny Gray's going to be traded to the Yankees, the Dodgers, or the Astros, maybe the Indians, and that Darvish will not be traded.
Does Sonny Gray put either one of those 3 teams over the top on winning the World Series?
Well, he's not going to put the Dodgers over the top because they're as close to the top as you can get. Does he pitch game 3 and 7? He could. Games 2 and 7, he could do that. No, I don't think we're going to see a player like that. Now, Zach Britton could be that guy. Look, when the Indians got Andrew Miller last year, we didn't say, okay, that's the deal that settles the American League pennant. But it was that deal, and sometimes you just don't see it coming.
All right, Richard, I'm glad you climbed out of that fishbowl, that aquarium. Your connection is awesome. You gave us a lot of information. I'll be watching for the next hour and a half to see how this bidding process goes out. And by the way, if the loser of this bidding war then decides to overpay for Verlander or Darvish. Appreciate it, Richard.
Thank you. Back into the fishbowl.
Okay. All right. It's MLB.com. It's Richard Justice on what's going to happen within the next hour and a half at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Okay, so this is something I've been thinking about. I want to talk to you about. When do you know? When do you know it's over? Like, you draft a quarterback in the first round. All reports. Let me just give you 3 guys. 3 guys. Blake Bortles reportedly threw 5 interceptions this weekend in a practice with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mitch Trubisky fumbled 3 snaps with the Chicago Bears. Jared Goff is the presumptive starter for the Los Angeles Rams. When do you know you've got something, or more importantly, you know you definitely do not have something at that position? 888-729-3776. It's Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
When do you know that you don't have a good thing going? When do you know that you've made a very, very serious mistake? I mean, you probably have to ask yourself that question a few times in your personal life. When do NFL teams ask and answer that question for themselves? This is Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo. It's the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. So, Blake Bortles is entering his 4th year in the NFL. This weekend, Blake Bortles threw 5 interceptions during a practice. This NFL training camp report, by the way, is brought to you by DraftKings. Try Daily Fantasy for free at DraftKings. Use code GRIT now at DraftKings.com. 5 interceptions in one practice. Apparently 2 were in 7-on-7 and 3 were in 11-on-11. Going into his 4th year. Now, Bortles hasn't been... It's funny, if you look at Bortles' numbers, they're not as bad as his play would suggest. Like, you see that elongated throwing motion where he drops it down to about his hip and then slings the ball out there about, it feels like 2 seconds too late to his receiver. And you're like, how's this experiment still going on? His passer rating through his first 3 years, 69, 88, 78. He throws a ton of picks. 17, 18, 16. He throws picks left and right. So throwing 5 in practice is kind of par for the course. And if you're the Jaguars and you're saying it's not par for the course, this is worse, you got to hit the red alert button. But when do you know that this thing's not working? Like, do the Los Angeles Rams already know that the Jared Goff experiment is a complete and utter failure? Or do they not? Or has he not been given enough time? Pair that up with information this weekend as well that Mitch Trubisky, he fumbled 3 snaps. I don't know if they were in a row, but he fumbled 3 snaps in pretty quick succession at Chicago Bears training camp. It's Trubisky's first. He's on a new offense. He's probably nervous. He's brand new. I don't take that as any indication of what Trubisky's going to be like. So clearly when it comes to Trubisky, it's entirely too early. And with Bortles, it's entirely obvious for them. It should be obvious for the Jaguars what they have with Blake Bortles, and if it's anything to hang their futures on. Jared Goff is somewhere in the middle. Not too soon, not too late. 1 year in. 1 year in, 1 offseason program, and 2 days of training camp. They've got to know about Jared Goff at this point. They've got to know if they've got, how about this? If not the guy who is the guy, a guy who can be the guy. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal, I believe it was, let's just call it a year ago, heading in, no, it was last fall. It was just a couple months into the Jared Goff experiment. This was after Jared Goff had been unable to win the starting job as a rookie. And the premise was that NFL teams know much sooner than they're willing to admit to us or really even to themselves what they have. NFL teams know pretty quickly if they made a mistake or if they got the guy. Louis Riddick, ESPN front office insider, said this morning that quarterback play is about 2 things, essentially. Number 1, it's about decision-making. And number 2, it's about accuracy. Now, while both of those things can improve, you can probably tell pretty quickly if decision-making or accuracy are evident at all, something that can be improved upon. In other words, you can probably tell pretty quickly if it's completely and utterly missing from a guy. That's what I bet you know. And if you know, admit it to yourself. Admit it to your team. Maybe you don't have to admit it to the media because you never do. But you admit it and saddle back up quickly. Scrap and go. If you know in October or November that Jared Goff is not your guy, scrap it, go, draft another one. Top of the first round next year. I asked you guys, here's the question. Do you think we give up on things too early or we hang on too long? I don't even know what I'm asking you about. Football quarterbacks, football coaches in society. Meaning, I don't know if there's one answer for all that. Do you think we give up, Cerruti, too early or hang on too long?
See, this might be a cop-out answer, but I actually disagree with you because I think the Blake Bortles situation is the hardest one to figure out. You say, we know what Blake Bortles is, and you think he's not a starting quarterback. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's right.
2 years ago, he had 35 touchdowns and 18 picks. He looked awesome. They were everyone's favorite team last year, and he has another, pretty average year the year after. I think you have no idea what he is, and you kind of fall in love with the hope of what he could be, but he may end up being right. He may not be good, but there's still that hope that he could be something. I think if Goff has another 6 games this year, he's done. That's it. Bortles to me is the most impossible one to figure out.
69, 88, 78. That's his passer rating over his first 3 years. 17, 18, 16. That's his interceptions over his first 3 years. 3 years. 3 years of evidence. Bill Parcells used to say, at the end of 3 years, I know what you are. Is what Blake Bortles has told you what he is that good enough for the Jacksonville Jaguars to win with?
I don't think he's had a ton of help there.
What's that?
I don't think he's had a ton of help there. So, is he good enough to win by himself? Probably not. But there aren't that many guys that are good enough to win by themselves.
Can you win a Super Bowl with him?
The jury's still out.
I don't know that it is. Look, we're going to have Louis Riddick join us in the studio here in about an hour at 3:30. I'm going to ask him exactly that. Do you know on Blake Bortles? 3 years in, do you know on Blake Bortles? Because here's the thing, Cerruti, I think with a lot of these guys, for example, the implication is with Goff, the Rams probably already know. Now, they're giving him a shot still, so they haven't given up on him. He's still the presumptive starter, Michelle. So that could be they're not admitting it to themselves, and it takes a while to admit it.
I think also you can look at Goff and you can rationalize it, right? You can say, well, his head coach was fired. They had to move to L.A. Their team wasn't very good. I think there's a lot of factors there in saying that he's not this terrible quarterback, and let's give him another chance.
Look, I have no doubt that success is circumstantial, at least to some great extent. The offensive coordinator you're with, the head coach you're with, stability, offensive game plan that you learn, system that you learn. All of these things are highly, highly predictable to your success. Dak Prescott was put in the perfect situation to be, great. And I would suggest he's going to continue to be. Now, you put him on the Jags, you put him on the Browns, you put him on the Rams. I'm sure it doesn't look anything like this. But decision-making and accuracy, you'd probably still have a decent idea about those two things. This is coming out of Denver as well. Denver Broncos head coach Vance Joseph is saying basically, their guys, not looking good. He came out after this weekend and said, not looking good. Neither one of them. Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, not good. So, I don't know. That's the question. And you as a fan, you can answer that as well. When do you want your team to give up on it? Do you think we move on entirely too quickly from these guys? I can't think of a quarterback that a team gave up on too quickly. Can you think of one that was bailed on too quickly? 888-729-3776. Come up with a name. No. What we do is we hang on way too long. We hang on way too long after we know the answer, further digging a hole for these franchises. They don't give up too early. No. They hang on too long. Let's do this. Tell me, can you come up with an example of someone who was given up on too early? 888-729-3776. 3776. It's Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio. I don't know. I think you know pretty quick. I was actually hesitating on giving this. It's Will Kane in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio. Do you know when you've made a mistake? How quickly do you know? Do the Rams know about Jared Goff? Do they know if they've got something or if it's in total and utter failure? Jeez, the Jaguars know about Blake Bortles 4 years in. Cerruti says they still don't know. Don't know. Big shoulder shrug. Don't know. Surely the Bears don't know what they've got with Mitch Trubisky already. But none of those are giving good signs, include, by the way, the Denver Broncos in that equation, where Vance Joseph is saying they don't have much. But I hesitated, Strudy. Michelle, do you know? I think you know pretty quickly. I think you know. But then I realized I'm about 2 hours into a 3-hour radio show, and I want a little more time to prove myself. So you don't know yet. In radio, you don't know. You need a little more time. You got a little more exposure. You got to hit your groove. But in football, yeah, you know. No, I think this is it, right? You know if you've got nothing. You know if you've got nothing. It's hard to know if you've got something. If, as Louis Riddick has said, football quarterbacking is about number 1, decision-making, and number 2, accuracy, you have to know probably pretty quickly once the guy's in the building and once he's in film room and once he's on the whiteboard, this guy's got nothing. Hey, Jared, show me Spider Y2 banana, whatever it is, John Gruden says. What is it? I didn't do it right. What is it?
No, you were right. That's it.
Spider 2Y banana? Banana, Spider Y2. Everybody's nodding at different ones.
General idea. You got it.
But that's the other thing, by the way. If you know, like a month or two after the guy's in the building, if he's got it in his brain, if he can make quick decision-making, can't you figure that out pre-draft? Can't you figure that out before you invest 3 to 4 years in your future in drafting him? I don't know. Seems like you should be able to figure that out quickly if the guy's got a big bag of nothing. Chris in Vermont, you're on the Ryen Russillo Show with Will Kane. Chris, we got you?
Yes, I'm here.
What do you think, Chris? We give up way too early, or are we hanging on too long with these guys?
I think in certain situations, I think they've been given up on too early. I, like a few other people, think that Tim Tebow is a name that you could put out there on giving up too early. I mean, the guy's mechanics might have been a little off, but I think if you worked with him, he had the heart. I mean, look what he did in college. I just think that's a name that should still be in the NFL.
Tim Tebow is one of the names I'm getting on Twitter as someone who was given up on too early. Here's a couple other ones. Drew Brees. That the San Diego Chargers gave up on Drew Brees entirely too early. Now, in that equation, Brees had an injury, and they already had Phillip Rivers in-house. So I don't know if they were giving up on Brees as much as they were choosing Rivers over Brees at that point.
It's easy to give up on Blake Bortles if you have another option. They don't have another option.
Well, that's the thesis, by the way. If you know, the giving up is bringing the other option in. Should the Rams have already drafted Goff's replacement? If they know. And by the way, knowing is only half the battle. Admitting it to yourself is the other. Like, that's the hardest thing in the world. Whether or not you failed at a business or failed on a date or whatever, like, you know pretty quickly, admitting it to yourself, this thing's not working, that's harder than knowing.
Well, let's play this game. If the Rams drafted a quarterback this year, high, you applaud the move?
I do.
You would have.
Yeah.
You would have been in the minority.
That's all right. I'm used to that.
Fair enough.
No. Well, I mean,
most people, I think, would be like, how could you do this to a young quarterback? You're bringing in competition. This is idiotic.
Isn't that what this is all about? Competition?
Well, everybody, remember the year RG3 was drafted, 2nd overall. The Redskins took Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. Everyone killed them for saying that. And it ended up actually working out pretty well for him.
So whose point are you arguing, mine or yours?
No, I'm stating all the facts here, Will. I just want it all on the table.
No, yeah, I think your point about the Redskins is exactly right, and that illustrates the fact that you want to bring somebody in as quickly as possible, if nothing else, than to simply give competition. Jordan in Oregon, what do you think? We give up on these guys too quickly or hang on to them way too long?
No, we don't give up on them too early. They hang around too long. You don't remember my boy Steve Young spanking the Cowboys?
Yeah, I remember some Steve Young years.
Yeah.
But how does he fit into this?
He was let go of Tampa Bay too early.
So, but I thought you said we hang on to him way too long. That's an example, Steve Young, of somebody.
A lot of times we hang on to him too long, but I thought this was about letting go too early. And enough talk about Tim Tebow. If he wants to learn how to kick and be a punter, bring him back.
So, wait a minute, Jordan. You said we hang on to him way too long, and then you gave me Steve Young.
Well, I thought the segment was we let him go. But, yeah, I would go with Steve Young, Tampa Bay, let him go too early.
That's a great one, actually. Yeah, thanks for the call, Jordan. That's a great one. So Drew Brees, these are the examples I'm being given. Drew Brees, Tim Tebow. By the way, Tim Tebow had something. Whether or not Tim Tebow was going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, if our theory is that you give up entirely too early, no, that you hang on too long, and only thing you can know too early is if they have nothing. Tim Tebow had something. He had something. He had something you could work with, build around. Brett Favre's another one that's being said. Atlanta Falcons getting rid of Brett Favre too early. Jay in South Dakota. You got about 30 seconds, Jay. Too early or hanging on too long?
I'd say that they gave up too early on Kirk Cousins with Washington. They could have had him that first year instead of franchising him, and now they're stuck in this franchising him every year thing, and are they going to keep him or are they going to get rid of him?
Well, they haven't given
up
on him.
They gave up on him too early. No, they haven't committed to him.
There it is.
I'd say that's given up on him.
I didn't put a ring on it. That's what it is. Didn't commit to him. Thanks for the call, Jay. That's a higher level of commitment that Jay is asking for. Not just do you know, but are you willing to marry? So if you got something, if not, should you give up on it? If you've got something, do you keep it around? And then if you keep it around, do you go ahead and just marry it? That's what Jay needs from the Redskins and Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I think we hang on too long. I think you can come up with all your Steve Youngs, your Brett Favres, your Drew Breeses, but we hang on too long. More LaVar Ball straight ahead. Will Kane in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio.